Most people think people-pleasing comes from being kind, from being polite, from being a good person. But that's not true. People-pleasing doesn't come from kindness. It comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of taking up space. And if there is one fictional character who understood this completely and chose something different, it's Cersei Lannister. Cersei doesn't apologize. She doesn't shrink. She doesn't soften her opinions to make the room more comfortable. While every other character in Game of Thrones is negotiating, performing, and managing how others see them, Cersei is deciding. That calmness is not cruelty. It's not arrogance. It's something most women are never taught. It's sovereignty. And sovereignty is exactly why Cersei survives in a world designed to destroy her. Not because she's the most powerful, not because she's the most loved, but because she never forgot who she was. So, if your life feels like one long performance, if you're exhausted from making everyone else comfortable, if you can't remember the last time you said what you actually thought, there are lessons you can learn from Cersei Lannister. And these lessons won't just reduce people-pleasing. They will change the way you exist in a room. The first lesson Cersei teaches us is uncomfortable, but it's the truth. People-pleasing is not a personality. It's a strategy, and it stopped working. Most women are trained from childhood to manage other people's emotions, to smile when they don't want to smile, to say yes when they mean no, to make themselves smaller so others feel bigger. And for a while, it works. It keeps the peace. But peace, built on self-erasure, isn't peace. It's a slow disappearance. Cersei never disappears. Watch how she enters a room. She doesn't scan for approval. She doesn't adjust her expression based on who's watching. She arrives as herself, completely, and lets the room adjust. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for permission to exist fully. Cersei never waited. And the first step to stopping people-pleasing is understanding this. No one is coming to give you permission. You have to take it. Lesson 2. Cersei separates love from leverage. This is where people-pleasers lose everything. They believe that if they are agreeable enough, helpful enough, available enough, people will love them. But what they're actually doing is making themselves useful. And useful is not the same as valued. Cersei understands something most people refuse to accept. People who only stay when you perform for them were never really there. She doesn't chase warmth from people who have shown her coldness. She doesn't keep earning approval from those who've already decided. She reads the room once, clearly, and she acts accordingly. This doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming honest. The people-pleaser gives endlessly, hoping eventually someone will stop requiring it. They never do. Cersei stops giving to those who only take, not out of bitterness, out of precision. Ask yourself honestly, how many of your relationships are built on what you provide, not who you are? Cersei would already know the answer. You need to know it too. Lesson 3. Cersei never apologizes for occupying space. This alone could free half the women watching this. People-pleasers apologize constantly. They apologize for having opinions, for needing things, for existing inconveniently. They preface every sentence with sorry and end every statement with a question mark. Cersei does none of this. She speaks in declarations, not requests. She does not ask for the floor. She takes it. She does not wonder if she's too much. She assumes she is exactly enough. This is not rudeness. This is self-respect expressed outwardly. The world takes you at your own valuation. Women who constantly apologize are teaching people that their presence requires an apology. Cersei teaches people that her presence requires attention. Stop apologizing for the space you occupy. You're not a burden. You are not too much. You are simply someone who has not yet decided to stop pretending otherwise. Lesson 4. Cersei understands that disappointing people is not the same as harming them. This is the core wound of every people pleaser. They've been taught somewhere by someone that their no is dangerous, that their honest opinion is an act of aggression, that if someone is uncomfortable because of them, they have done something wrong. So they twist themselves into whatever shape causes the least friction, and they call this being a good person. Cersei calls it something else. She calls it weakness, dressed as virtue. When Cersei says no, she does not spiral. She does not spend 3 days replaying the conversation. She does not text them back, softening the no into a maybe. She says it. She means it. She moves on. Disappointing people is inevitable. People pleasers think if they're careful enough, agreeable enough, they can avoid it. They can't. You will disappoint people. The only question is whether you disappoint them or disappoint yourself. Cersei always chose correctly. Lesson 5. Cersei prepares for how people actually are, not how she wishes they were. People pleasers are eternal optimists about other people's intentions. They give second chances to people who never changed. They make excuses for behavior that keeps repeating. They believe that if they just love hard enough, show up enough, sacrifice enough, the person will finally become who they hoped they were. Cersei has no such illusions. She watches, she notices patterns, she remembers, and she plans accordingly. This is not cynicism. It is clarity. Most people pleasers are exhausted not because they care too much, but because they keep investing in relationships that the other person already walked away from. Cersei never throws resources at a losing position. She sees people clearly, and she responds to who they are, not who she needs them to be. When you accept people as they are, fully without fantasy, you stop trying to earn something they were never going to give you. That is not defeat. That is freedom. Lesson 6. Cersei knows her worth is not determined by consensus. This is what breaks the people pleaser completely. They need agreement. They need validation. They cannot feel good about a decision until enough people tell them the decision was right. They cannot feel good about themselves until enough people reflect that goodness back. So they perform constantly for an audience that keeps changing its mind. Cersei does not perform for audiences. She has no interest in your opinion of her choices. Not because she doesn't feel, but because she decided at some point that her own judgment was sufficient. She does not need your applause to feel real. Women are socialized to seek external validation constantly, from childhood, from relationships, from social media, from rooms full of people who are also seeking it. Cersei opted out of that system entirely. Your worth is not a vote. It is not a comment. It is not a reaction. It existed before anyone else decided whether to acknowledge it. Cersei always knew this. So must you. Lesson 7. Cersei understands that being liked and being respected are not the same thing. People pleasers want to be liked, desperately. And so they do everything to avoid being disliked. They agree when they disagree. They laugh at things that aren't funny. They dim their own brightness so no one feels outshone, and they are liked by everyone, completely, and they're taken seriously by no one. Cersei is not liked, not universally. She is feared. She is respected. She is impossible to ignore. There's a kind of woman who walks into a room and is immediately accommodated. Not because she is warm, because she is clear, because she does not signal that her time, her space, her opinions are negotiable. Liked is easy, respected is earned. And you cannot earn respect while you are busy managing everyone's comfort. Let some people dislike you, the right ones will stay anyway. And this is the final truth. People-pleasing is not a character flaw. It was a survival strategy. For many women, it worked. For years, maybe decades. It kept things smooth. It kept a peace. It kept everyone around you comfortable. But it cost you something. It cost you your voice, your time, your sense of what you actually want, your ability to tell the difference between who you are and who you perform. Cersei Lannister never lost that. She is many things, but she is never confused about who she is. And that, not her power, not her title, not her family name, is what makes her impossible to truly defeat. So, if you are exhausted from performing, stop performing. Stop apologizing for your presence. Stop earning what should already be yours. Stop making yourself small so others feel large. You don't need permission to be exactly who you are. You only need to decide that you're done waiting for it. The woman who knows herself is the most dangerous person in any room. Cersei always knew that. Now, you do.